Welcome back to Dow Twang. I'm Dave. On this channel, we do a lot of different things, but one thing that's always there is improvisation. That's really what we do on the Twang, isn't it? And sometimes, I'll present something in the intro demonstration and then, tab it out exactly, sometimes if it's really composed and arranged and everything. But most of the time, what we do is I improvise at the opening, right? And then we unpack that improvisation to see what were the, kind of main skills and ideas and things that were used um, in the improv. So today will be one of those cases, and so I've got some tab here for you that's going to show you like some pathways, to that to learn the main ideas that was going on there. It's not tabbed out like a solo, okay? And also that allows you to work at whatever tempo you need to, and so forth. And this is at 85 beats per minute. Um, I'll show you the chords in a second. And I had to, you know, I had them do several passes of a couple of these licks at that tempo, not a real high tempo, but I'm putting a lot of notes in there. So don't try to rush right to the backing track and cram all this stuff in. That's not as beneficial as slowing it down and kind of looking into how the moves are being made and so forth, right? And then the sound of it, and then do your own thing with it. So I love this progression. We've used it before on the YouTube channel and at different tempos and things. It's just a great rock four chord progression. It's A, G, D. Okay, here's what it sounds like on the track. And then we'll jump right into the tab. I could play over that all day. I don't know what it is. I love that sequence of chords. So let's pull this tab up, and now I named the PDF that'll be attached to this video, um, uh, Weaving Pentatonic or something like that. And because it reminded me of like I don't do knitting and crocheting and stuff, but my one of our daughters does, and you know, I've had it kind of demonstrated to me a couple of times, and it's really interesting. You go like, you do like 2 loops and then 1 back or 1 loop and 2 back or something, and you keep going like that. And this reminded me of that because there is sort of a, a, there's a pattern, of it, and it's working out of familiar shapes for major pentatonic. So something like. Right? If you're just familiar with those shapes or with that sound, then you can probably settle into this pretty quickly. Go at a sensible speed. So here's what's going on with the weaving. Um, here's the first lick that I played over the A. Okay. It's kind of an exercise. It's licks, but what you want to do in the end is take out, get these under your fingers, work through this tab, see if you can just play the 4-chord sequence like this. And then, kind of let yourself go and just catch that movement. And you'll see what I mean if you really rehearse the tabbed out part. And then kind of let yourself go. Make a loop at a smaller tempo later on if you need to. Um, Slower tempo. I think I said smaller. Um, so here's what's going on. In this case, I'm on each one of them. I'm hitting the root note. When you're really up and about running around playing, you probably don't need to reach down and play a root every time. You can kind of see in your mind's eye that, which chord you're on. But I'm just doing that to give you a good guide at first. So I'm going root, and I'm sliding from the ninth of that A to the major third. Hear that? Okay. Then from the 5 to the 6th of A, and then back to the 5. And that last one's just a higher octave of it. So you see the mechanical thing that's being repeated here is that when I slide up, I'm always sliding up 2 frets, and I'm going after I slide, I go back to the place where it started, right? And at the end of it, I think at the end of each one, I'm just playing some kind of major pentatonic sequence. You could do anything, uh, with that part using the pentatonic scale. Okay. I just mapped out a couple, for each one, just something that seemed like it felt good with the phrasing or something, and it added up kind of evenly. When you're practicing stuff, learning kind of sequential stuff like this, you want it to have like kind of a motif or like something that's repeated, where the feeling is repeated. So here's that first one. And it ends on the 5th of the A. Well, that's not bad. We like the 5th. Then the next chord's G. Hear how that's kind of the same routine? I'm just, it's different position. Now, it's not exactly the same. This time it goes from the root right to the 5 to the 6 move, and instead of sliding it, because I'm in this position, I don't want to jump back there and have to slide it. I just hammer it. And then right down for G major pentatonic. So now you're probably saying, oh, wait a second, he's just playing the pentatonic for each root. Yes. Okay. So if you've already kind of noticed that, and that will be consistent through all 4 of them, right? So I guess it's kind of a warm up, or like to sort of put this in context of things that you may already be more familiar with. You could just kind of go through this progression with whatever kind of major pentatonic shapes you want. See, that's part of the sound of it, right? The melodic, the harmonic structure of it. And then this weaving thing is just kind of fun, and it kind of sounds like you're climbing, but it's elevating, right? I'm doing them all going up, right? So you've got this effect where the lick moves in an upward direction, the line, right? But within the line, there's dancing up and down. There's a lot of reversals of the order, but it still climbs up. That's a cool sounding effect, and that creates a lot of intensity at certain times in your improv. Then you balance that out with some sweeter bluesier stuff, and you get a nice composition. So we did the A and the G, and then for the D, it goes. just kind of a similar. Some of these are kind of interchangeable. I'll show you in just a second. I want to go through the four, and then I'll finish it off by kind of talking about that for a second. So here's the D again. And this one again, we go from the 5 to the 6, and then, step back. So let's see. You don't have to account for every chord tone all the time, but, why not since we're here? D, 5, 6. And that's our 9 to our major third. And there's our 5 to 6 again. So we're getting a lot of 9, third, 5. We're getting a lot of cool chord tones in here, but we're doing it in a sort of an automated way using these shapes, right? We're not kind of having to think, target all of these things sort of, um, um, you know, uh, uh, intellectually, right? And, when you find something that just feels good physically, make that part of your routine because then you can relax into it and it just comes across a lot more musical and sort of confident sounding. It's very stabilizing. Even if you're going fast, especially when you're going fast, right? Because it's easy to kind of, you know, fly off the handle or whatever. So there's the D. Use whatever fingers you want. Then the E. Kind of used less notes there, didn't I? So I just changed the cadence of it a little bit. Don't worry about, you know, trying to count all of this either. Just kind of, you know, if once you get up here, you're back into that kind of major pentatonic business again, and you can kind of finish it off in whatever type of phrasing feels good to you. See, that's so you've got this kind of up and then down in a you're going up in more of this climbing kind of horizontal dimension, and then down in sort of one of your shapes, one of the pentatonic shapes that you might already be really familiar with. So here's the plan. Go through the tab, go through it several times. Be able to, at whatever tempo is appropriate, be able to play through that, And if you make some mistakes and stuff, just keep going, work it out, but just get it to where you can kind of start to feel that you're surfing that wave a little bit. And you'll know it when it happens. Let me know how this goes. Appreciate all of the support. Talk to you next week.